watching Niger Live TV, and this is Newspaper Review with me, Barbie Mkparu, and I'm joined by
Glad Yakie.
So yeah, Newspaper Review is your daily press review, as we will be checking out headlines making the papers and also give our own opinions on the stories. So let's quickly begin with the Vanguard newspaper. See here, rising costs. IMF warns of tough times for Nigerians. Now we had giving that story yesterday as well, where the IMF chief mentioned that as a result of the blockage of the Strait of Hormuz and the increment in petrol prices and many other things, it's affecting countries, sadly. And because of this, there are tough times ahead if the crisis persists, if the Strait of Hormuz is still blocked. It would increase cost of things and then affect prices generally. So glad in regards to this statement from the IMF chief, the International Monetary Fund. She's saying that tough times are ahead.
Well, it's really scary to even think of it because for Nigerians, we feel like we're already
in
going
tough
through a lot.
times.
So we can't even think of the situation getting worse. But you look at the state of the nation, there's insecurity, there's the farmer-header clashes also preventing farmers from really going to their farmlands to really should I say plants. So that's also going to be some issues with regards to food production, and then there's the growing cost of transportation with the fuel increase and all that. So of course it's going to have a ripple effect in which prices of goods, especially food services, food products, will actually be increased. So for the IMF, they're actually seeing into the future, and for Nigerians already going through a lot, these are actually scary comments.
Honestly, to now expect that it could get worse. Can it really get worse?
Well,
how would it be when it gets worse than it already is? Quite a story that you should check out, as available in the paper. We see a tragic, sad story here, still in regards to insecurity. Gunmen abduct 14 UTME candidates in Benue State. And it's a sad one that parents would know that their children are going to write exams, to get higher education. And we're now hearing, sadly, that those children have been abducted. Quite a sad story there.
Very, very sad story. I think it was very upsetting. I came to the office this morning and I saw that story. I was very upset because it's almost like every day we are going to be talking about one abduction, one killing, different attacks in different parts of the country. I'm not even sure what the stories tomorrow will be about, but one thing is certain, that there will be another attack tomorrow. We'll come out here and we'll talk about newspaper review, and there's going to be one new killing, one more attack. So Nigeria is slowly becoming, not necessarily slowly, I think we are rapidly becoming a failed state. Because you look at the situation in the country, there's always one negative story or the other making the headlines. So really unfortunate for those students. Hopefully they will be able to come out of this. Earlier the president came up and said the attacks in Plateau State was going to be the last, but we've been seeing multiple attacks and
after
there's no consequences that's why I like the UK pattern of government, because they hold you accountable for your statements. For you to come out and make a claim, you have to be able to back it up. And for the president, he made that statement that he was going to ensure that the insecurity situation is going to improve, and the Plateau situation was going to be the last. But we've been seeing multiple cases and there's been no consequence yet, so it's really unfortunate.
Quite a sad story there. Remember, we talked about the president's statement then, and to be honest, many Nigerians did not really take that statement to heart, because it's not the first time we're having our leaders come openly to assure us of things, and then sadly we still have to face such challenges. This is quite a sad one, and we hope and pray that the students return to their families safely. So let's quickly check out some headlines on the Punch newspaper. Federal government moves to tighten airport prison security. Quite a story there. And then we see 2027 battle. Tinubu fires shot at opposition heavyweights. You see, there's a whole lot going on in regards to the 2027 general elections. I mean, there is the President Tinubu and his supporters clamoring that he comes back for another tenure as president of Nigeria, and then they are still the ones that are using all of these problems. That okay, this is your first tenure, and we're seeing that we're suffering a whole lot. Why should you come back? So opposition, and I'm banking on his failure to sell themselves. Glad, what do you have to say about this headline?
Well, the elections are just by the corner. Of course, there's going to be one statement from each of the various candidates from the various parties. So for Bola Ahmed Tinubu, he feels targeted by the other, by the ADC. I think there was comments from Atiku Abubakar, and he's also been under fire from Peter Obi as well.
Yeah.
So there's been the claims that he's basically trying to be a tyrant and pushing Nigeria towards absolutism. And for Tinubu, he's still undeterred by those comments, and of course his ambitions still to contest in the 2027
it's
elections.
Very much active and very much flying. I mean, he, considering the fact that he has over 30 something governors in his political party, he has an edge.
He does.
At this point. But let's see how everything goes. Whoever emerges, we just hope that you do all you can to do the littlest, the bare minimum, the most important thing of governance, which is to ensure that the lives and properties of your citizens are protected. Yeah. So quickly, let's check out this day newspaper. Take a few headlines on this day newspaper. You see here, Dangote rallies World Bank, IMF, US Exim chiefs on investment in Nigeria's energy and industrial sector. Quite a story, and a move from Africa's richest man, Alhaji Aliko Dangote there. Do well to read through details of that story as it is available on the paper. To the New Telegraph, shall we? We'll check out a few headlines on the New Telegraph. 2027. They want to scare me. I won't give up. That's a statement from the president, Tinubu.
And he also said, I took over for myself. Talking about late Buhari. He said, late Buhari is me. So those are some really interesting statements. So it's almost like he's a reincarnation of Buhari. And when you talk about Buhari, at least so the average Nigerian, they feel like his time as president coincided with when the situation on the hardship really toughened in increase in Nigeria. So it's almost like you saying you're the reincarnation of Buhari, or almost like the extension of the sufferings that Nigerians are facing. But you can actually check out the papers to see what he really meant by the statements.
Quite a statement from the president. Still on the New Telegraph, security alert. Terrorists plan to hit Abuja airport and other critical infrastructure. That's a statement from customs. A whole lot. So now it's extending to the airports.
The terrorists are becoming more brazen. We saw the attacks in which the generals were being killed, and the soldiers. And now they are threatening to take over the airports, to attack the Abuja airports, because the Abuja airport is one of the biggest and the biggest busiest airports in Nigeria, after maybe Murtala Mohammed Airport in Lagos. So is going to be something that if they really, should I say, if they really put up with this, if they carry out this attack, it's going to an extent put a halt to movements within and outside Nigeria. So
very true.
For the security operatives, they have to take these attacks very seriously, and of course they are carrying out measures to ensure that the terrorists are not going to just, maybe you don't want to just bank on the fact that they are just bluffing. You want to ensure you're putting measures in place to carry out the safety of lives in the environment, but really hard statements coming from these terrorists, and in a time like this in Nigeria, and now these terrorists are coming threatening airports. Really nowhere is safe.
Nowhere is safe, to be honest. You see, there was a statement from the ACF, Arewa Consultative Forum, where they said the terrorism attack in Nigeria is beginning to look like state of war. This is war that is coming. It's now beyond just anything. This is war.
Nigeria is actually as well, but we just haven't realized it. Maybe it hasn't gotten to your doorstep.
Bomb blast and all that.
You cannot necessarily move along the Nigerian highway. You can't travel from Yenegua to Benin without that assurance, the safety that you
safety,
get to
true.
your destination. You don't even just have to worry about the bad roads. There's a fear of kidnappings, and these are trends that you see in a place where, in a war zone, where you're not really free to move about. So we are actually in a war situation, and then you look at the state of the economy. It's almost like that of there are certain countries that are fighting wars officially that are more stable economically
even
than Nigeria.
So
we are actually in a state of war, but we haven't really acknowledged it.
Quite a sad one. Please, our leaders, do something. I mean, I can't even. We can't even point who exactly it is funding these terrorists. I mean, for them to be comfortable enough to terrorize a country, like repeated attacks.
With what I believe, right, I think we are just seeing a metamorphosis of Boko Haram. Because
Boko Haram, thank you.
They are trying to like extend their operations to different parts of Nigeria, and I really told you when they were celebrating the Eid al-Fitr, I was coming to the studio and I had to get past this congregation of Muslims. I was really scared, the kind of faces I was seeing in that celebration. When you look at the definition, I don't know what you really think of when you hear a terrorist. There's definitely going to be a picture in your mind.
Of course.
The picture in my mind was what I was
exactly
actually seeing. I was really surprised. I was afraid because these people, I feel like they are actually expanding, and if you don't take measures, and that's how they come in slowly. The states that are currently suffering the most, the likes of Benue, Plateau, Kwara states, they come in and they carry out attacks. It starts maybe as farmer header clashes, and then it escalates, and then they start killing people. In Bayelsa State today, we are currently experiencing cases in which farmers there's been complaints. I think there were times when women even had to go and protest at the government house, talking about how their crops were being destroyed by the headers. It starts with these farmer header clashes, and then they become more brazen. They step on you, and when they don't get a reaction that they come in harder the next time. So we have to take measures in order to deter these people from really expanding. But what I really believe, I think for the terrorists we saw in the north, is that the Boko Haram, they're actually expanding. They've changed their modus of operation.
Quite a story. I mean, a whole lot should be done to address this issue of growing terrorism nationwide. The state governors talked about state policing, which is about to kick off. We just really hope that all of that helps and aids in curbing insecurity nationwide. Quite a story that you should check out, available on the paper. So let's quickly check out the leadership paper. Middle East crisis. Nigeria has no intention of approaching IMF for loans, says Edun. Okay. Then we have another one here. Court orders arrest of former humanitarian minister. A whole lot of news stories are available in the papers. Do well to read through details of these and other stories as available in the paper. Let's quickly head on to the Nigeria Tribune. 2027 presidency. No one can scare me. Tinubu vows. No one can scare you. We agree, but the state of the country is scaring us. Honestly, no one can scare you. We really do understand that statement. But in regards to the insecurity in the country, the sad stories that we keep seeing, Nigerians are too scared to re-elect you. So, Mr. President, I know you're doing your very best, but please bring these people to book so that insecurity can be curbed and entirely disappear from Nigeria. Thank you. So, another story on the Nigeria Tribune. Security forces on high alert for large-scale attack on airport, prison. Memo says. So just as we discussed, the attacks, the terrorism attacks that would come up very soon in airports and prisons.
Hopefully it never comes.
Hopefully it never comes, because that I don't want to even imagine how much of a disaster that will be. Airport.
It will affect the country drastically, because you look at the veins of the country. You talk about the roads, and for now, a lot of people are trying to avoid traveling by road. So people are now looking the way of them flying. So should the Abuja airports be attacked, it's going to have a
whole lot of families
economic,
would even lose.
Yeah, it's going to have a significant impact on the country. And then you talk about people moving out of the country. They are also going to find it more difficult, because they have to focus on the Murtala Mohammed Airport in Lagos, and now you now have too many traffic in that airport as well. So it will have a significant effect on Nigeria, but hopefully it never gets to that.
Hopefully. All right. So quickly to the Daily Independent newspaper. On the Daily Independent newspaper, we see Nigeria's poverty project evolves into an economic powerhouse. Quite a story there. We see again Atiku, a serial loser, will recontest in 2030. 2031. That's from the FCT minister, Nelson Wike.
That was a jab. But I wouldn't really be surprised if Atiku contests in 2031, because for forever, Atiku has been contesting in every election. He's been the most consistent contender for the presidency, and he's been losing every single time, and this time he's still going to be coming contesting in the 2027 elections. He's already declared that, but he's still trying to make at least he's trying to give the maybe promise that the 2027 would be his last election. But there's been a saga between Atiku and Wike, so Wike is also trying to blow take a jab, and
that's quite a statement there. I mean, the former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, he made a statement that 2027 would be his last attempt at presidency.
I really doubt.
The last that he would want to put himself out there to serve Nigeria.
And Wike called him a serial loser,
which sounds very blunt.
It's actually the truth.
Yes, it is the truth. But if we have to check through. Quite a sad one there. So whatever, let's see how everything unfolds. So do well to read through that interesting story, as it is available in the paper. Let's head on to the Daily Sun newspaper. Still the tragic story about gunmen abducting 14 UTME candidates in Benue State. Sad story. Then we have fuel marketers deny charging airlines 3,300 for Jet A1. Fuel marketers deny, really, because there was a story available yesterday on the paper where we see that local airlines are threatening to shut down from Monday as in regards to the
fuel
hikes. Now, another story is saying that the fuel marketers are denying selling it at 3,300 per litre.
It could be an issue with reporting. Sometimes we live in an era of fake news. Sometimes this news they just come out of it seems like they come out of thin air. You don't know who even started it in the first place. So for them to come out and deny it, at least the price will be stable at least.
Yes, please. At least as you're denying, please let the price be more reasonable, because the difference was very large. I mean, from what they used to buy and what they now announce that they buy per litre. So do well to read through details of that story as available in the paper. Let's head on to Daily Trust newspaper. Heat wave forces Kano residents to sleep outdoors. Okay.
This is something I can relate to. You know, it's
Have you slept outside
no,
before?
not necessarily sleeping outside. You know, but the heat, you know, is something that you cannot hide from it, because there are lots of times people talk about global warming, and for Nigerians we seem to be, should I say, hiding or shying away from that conversation. But it's something that is actually affecting us. A lot of people joke about the fact, you know, that I heard someone working. I was working on the streets the other day, and a lady was saying who entered hell and forgot to close
lock the door.
It is really high. I don't know. The sun is really intensifying recently, but I think we have to take the issue of climate change more seriously.
So do well to read through details of that story, as you can even use the story to maybe give yourself. You can also sleep outside if the weather is too hot.
There's no electricity supply. So.
Exactly. So many reasons to sleep out. I can't even blame them at this point. So, but then mosquitoes, that should be one problem. You're sleeping outside. You have to protect yourself from malaria. Do well to read through details of that story. Keep debt manageable. IMF tells Nigeria. In Nigeria, we're known for our bad habit of
just borrowing.
Yes, just borrowing. And then we also reported the story. Nigeria now owes about, a couple of huge money.
Trillions of naira.
A couple, very huge. And I think the statement that followed is that due to the amount that Nigeria currently owes, each Nigerian has to pay a total of, I think, 700 and something thousand naira each Nigerian
in order
to be able to clear the debts. That's quite a story. So IMF is telling Nigeria to keep debt manageable.
Jesus already paid our debts.
Find them during celebrated. So yeah, that story is available on the paper. So the Guardian newspaper. Correctional center. How systematic collapse, corruption worsen inmates' plight behind bars. Quite a story there in regards to correctional centers, prisons, and all that. Do well to read through details of that story. We see here, police customs uncover terrorist plots in Abuja, Niger, and Ondo. So you see, this terrorism attacks, it's spreading. Now it's going beyond the northern part of Nigeria, entering the middle belt to the west. These people are gaining ground seriously. God help us. So yeah, let's move on to the business day. After the business day, we take the sports news. So on the business day, we see quite a story here. Repackaged expired products dominates Nigeria's 34 trillion naira food market. Do well to read through details of that story. And then we see 30 trillion naira pension industry pivots to income health access. So a whole lot of stories are making the papers this morning, from the world of insecurity to economic challenges to political drama. A whole lot. You need to, as a Nigerian, stay informed. So do well to read through details of these and other stories as they are available in the paper. At this point, I'd let Glad be the anchor as he would take us down the world of sports. Over to you, Glad.
Yeah, from the Punch Sports Extra, we have a statement from Olajide Omotayo. He explains that winning gold at the African Games stands out the most for me. I'm still hungry for more. I want to improve my world ranking and achieve greater success on the global stage. So that's a statement from Olajide Omotayo. He did win gold at the African Games, so he still wants to keep improving, keep on getting better. You can check out that story. It is on page 6 on the Punch Sports Extra. And all the stories making the Punch Sports Extra, we have one where Liverpool Jared Bowen to replace Salah for Liverpool, already looking for the post Salah era. And for Arteta, he confirms Madueke's knee injury. So big blow for us now, considering the crucial last stages of the season, where
Yeah.
they have to at least try and secure the Premier League title. So losing Madueke at this point is going to be a huge blow for them. So Arsenal fans, you can check out that story. It is on page 4 Sports Extra. And for Caicedo, he agrees new Chelsea contract. You can check out the details of the contracts. That is also on page 4 on the Point Sports Extra. So it's a big story for Chelsea fans, especially. They will find that interesting. And for Boniface, while Leverkusen sends Boniface on loan. So that the Nigerian has been struggling with injuries for a long time, but you can check out the reason why he left Leverkusen on loan. So that story is on page 7 on the Point Sports Extra. And for Favor Ofili, Turkey to appeal Ofili's ruling at CAS, because for the Nigerian, the former, you want to call her the former Nigerian sprinter, because she did switch her allegiance to Turkey. And for the Athletics Federation, World Athletics, they did decline her request to switch allegiance, so they did not confirm her. So for Turkey, they would be appealing on the decision by the Athletics Federation. So you can find out details of that story on page 2. But so it was a big blow for Favor of Philly, because she was really hoping to partake in the 2028 Olympic Games while representing Turkey. While Mikel Obi stated that Barca were not robbed against Atletico. But there's been a lot of talks about the refereeing decision, and a lot of people believe it was what really costed Barcelona in the Champions League. But Mikel Obi has already given his insights, and he believes Barca weren't robbed. That story is on page 7 on the Point Sports Extra. While Gala coach likens Osimhen to Mbappe and Kane. That's a big comparison, because a lot of people would agree Osimhen is definitely one of the biggest players to emerge from Africa.
Yeah,
but comparing him to Kane and Mbappe, a lot of people would even say he's currently the best player in the world. No, I wouldn't necessarily disagree, but in order for him to really get to that level, he needs to be playing in a bigger club. I don't think Gala would be where he would be able to achieve those milestones. But you can check out that the details of that on page 6 on the Point Sports Extra. While for Simeone credits Lookman for Atletico's run, that story is on page 6 on the Point Sports Extra. While in boxing, Wilder not in Joshua's plans. That's a surprising story, because I really felt we're going to see a Wilder Joshua fight in July, but from this headline, it doesn't seem like Joshua really intends to fight Wilder. And for a lot of boxing fans, they will want to at least see what will be made from that encounter. We just don't want to wish and dream what would have been if these two fighters would have met, But if we don't see the Wilder and Joshua fights, hopefully we're going to be seeing Tyson Fury and Joshua, because Tyson Fury also did call out Joshua. But you can find out details of that story on page 2 on the Point Sports Extra. While for Sporting captain, he aims dig at Arsenal's boring style. So Arsenal, they've been criticized for their boring play, but Arsenal wouldn't really care. They've already qualified to the next round. Then there's a story on Junior Aruna as he wins WTT Youth Contender France Silver. So Junior Aruna is really looking forward to taking over from his father, Kwadre Aruna, who is the national champion in tennis in Nigeria. So that story, you can find it on page 2 on the Punch Sports Extra. But the Sporting Sun, I'm going to just breeze through the Sporting Sun. There's a lot of interesting stories, but the major one ahead of UCL semi-final, Lookman dares Arsenal. He says, "Bring on Gunners." So he's really looking forward to that Arsenal contest. And for Cesc Fabregas, he bags Bezos Award. So one award to another being won by Cesc Fabregas. He's been doing fantastically well at Como FC. And for injured Ekitike, he calls for support in recovery process. So very sad one for the young man. He got injured in Liverpool's game against Paris Saint-Germain, and the speculations he could be out until January of 2027. So big blow for the young man, as he would be missing out on the World Cup. The Didier Deschamps, the French manager, already confirmed that. The young man is actually calling for support, and that story is on page 2 on the Sporting Sun. And for Camavinga's red card, a joke. That's according to Bellingham. You can find that story on page 3. And for Anthony Joshua, absurd shape. Joshua shows off current physique after refusing Fury face-off. You can check out that story on the Sporting Sun. There's a story on Frederick as he eyes friendly against Portugal for return to the Super Eagles. So you can see that story on page 6 on the Point Sports Extra. And all the stories not worth following. For Ronaldo, he unfollows legendary Gary Lineker. I think Gary Lineker was talking about why Cristiano unfollowed him on Instagram. I don't want to be a spoiler to that. You can check it out, but it has something to do with a statement about Gary Lineker's statement about Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo. That's just me giving you the
tip of the iceberg.
Of course. And for Vinicius, and forgotten Vinicius left by Real Madrid boss at Bayern Munich, so he did not make the bus. You can check out the story and why he failed to meet up. And for Yamal, he has an inflated ego. You're going to check out, that's a statement from someone. You're going to find out who is making that statement. There's been a lot of talks about Lamine Yamal's ego, but you can check out that story. It is on the Sporting Sun. And for Galatasaray boss, he says Osimhen on same level with Kane and Mbappe. That's really big statements from his manager, but of course your manager has to believe in you before anyone else believes in you. For Adagula, he makes UCL history. He was very impressive in Real Madrid's outing against Bayern Munich over the midweek, on Wednesday. But you can check out the details of that story as well on the Sporting Sun. While the other story there's one on Victor Boniface, where Leverkusen details Boniface recovery plan. That story is also on the Sporting Sun, I beg your pardon. But that's a wrap on the newspaper, the sports part of the newspaper review, I guess.
Thank you so much, Glad. He's always giving us updates on things going on in the world of sports. That was a very interesting review, I must say. And that concludes the newspaper review on this hour. You have been watching Niger Live TV. Do well to stay glued with us, as we will be bringing you more updates on Globe in View. My name is Barbie Mkparu, and I've been joined by
Glad Yakie.
Do stay well. Thank you for watching.